This should be fun!
Family don't end with blood.
I regret this already.
Hello? Not an idiot. See ya!
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Give him the bits! The bits! The bits!
The things I do for love.
I will never, ever turn my back on people who need me. Bigger! Cartoons!
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
Can't wait to see what kind of update you make to your ceremonial outfits.
An American black operative. A mercenary nicknamed Killmonger. That's who you are.
It's not my name, princess. Ask me, king.
This episode contains themes revolving around race, colonialism, and Marvel. Have fun.
Hello, and welcome back.
Oh wait, those are my lines.
Yeah. Oh.
Why are you stealing my spot? Like, I swear.
I'm Myra.
I'm Sam.
And I'm full of anxiety.
Why? What happened to you?
What didn't happen? Do we want chronologically or alphabetically?
Guys, therapy is Sunday, not Saturday. Keep
Also,
your days straight.
I inspire anxiety with my notes, apparently.
Yeah, 4 fucking pages, Sam!
It's not my fault we have a meaty film this time.
It's not your fault that you wrote down so much. It's not your fault.
It's the filmmaker's fault, apparently.
It's the filmmaker. I'm blaming the filmmakers.
That is the rudest shit I've ever heard.
No, I'm not, I'm happy about it.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
To Why Should I Watch That?
Why should I watch that?
Woo!
It's actually me, Myra.
If they don't know who you are by now.
You never know, they might decide to start with this episode.
Maybe,
Don't
that's
be rude.
rude.
Hey, newbie, we love you, and we're gonna tell you our names just in case you didn't know.
I'm Sam.
No, you're not. You're rude.
I know, Jesus.
And a disappointment.
I didn't say that. I said rude.
It was there.
I'm Jay. I'm not rude. I promise. I've been betrayed.
And today, we are going to be talking about Black Panther.
Black Panther, you guys.
I don't know why I did that.
He doesn't even have fucking...
Fuck kind of sound effect was that?
Apparently, I think I've just realized I make my own sound
Yeah,
effects.
it's Black Panther, not Black Bumblebee.
That's closer, I guess.
It's more Star Wars.
Pump. I don't know what I'm doing. The caffeine finally hit.
Oh, god damn it.
Y'all.
Alright, so yeah, we're talking about Black Panther today. Sam has 4 pages of notes.
It's more like 3
we took
and a
one
quarter.
step forward. We took one step forward with Sam roping in how she writes notes, and then 4 steps backwards. So
this was the first film in a while where
Hey,
we
Sam.
had
Hey Sam, how many notes did you write? How many pages of notes did you write for Over the Garden Wall? These series that we watched.
Wait, hold on. I have to look.
She was at least 6.
No, I have a point to make. Hold on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so you wrote almost the same amount of notes for a movie that you did for a full series.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's an excellent film with a lot of themes and
That's not debated.
Yeah, it's not debated. Just you wrote down a lot.
I have rights.
Questionable. We'll see.
I have to go find.
You have a built-in fucking.
I'm almost halfway through this notebook. I am halfway through this notebook. Look at that.
Yeah, you keep taking 4 and 5 page notes.
You know what's bad though? I just realized, the notebook that you got me, I don't want to write in it.
Why not?
Because it's so pretty, and I don't want to, if I write in it, then it's it's just gonna stand there as, it's standing there as an ornament.
It's standing there anyway.
I know, but I'm, scared of ruining it by opening it and writing in it, and keep...
Hey, home skillet biscuit. Let me take your hands for a moment.
Oh shit, this just got real.
I feel like we're praying.
Oh, I gotta go.
Yikes! Oh,
Sorry, I had to put that there. But yes,
use it. That's why I got it for you.
I will use it. I feel
I'm very uncomfortable with the energy that we've created in the studio today.
although I used the other one that I got, the one that my mom got me to start writing my fan fiction. So yeah, you're gonna hate
shit.
you.
What?
I can't say shit.
What?
I can't say shit.
Y'all are never gonna read it though.
I don't want to.
I mean, I literally wrote a fucking.
No, my shock is not coming from, oh, you want fanfiction. My shock is coming from you actually put pen to paper for this fanfiction and not like on a computer like normal people.
Do you not just have a Google Drive of your fanfic like everyone else?
What if someone that you don't want to read it picks up your notebook?
Why the fuck are you picking up my notebook?
Not me.
Your dad?
What I'm saying is
Oh,
like,
fuck.
yeah. What if you're in the hospital and your brother is like, shit, I gotta go get all your stuff. Runs into your room, is like, this looks important. It falls open. He opens it, and it's in the middle of the fucking fanfic.
Also,
Is
it's
it gonna-
gonna be smutty because it's you.
It's not smutty so far.
Okay,
Dear listeners, so
point
far.
My point is, you're putting a lot of faith in the world that no one's gonna open that book when you're not home.
Yeah, but I also have my inner thoughts in my journals. So if they really were that's not the journal they're gonna go for. And
But they don't know. They don't know which one it is. They're gonna
yeah,
see one.
if let's say if I die, and everybody just starts going through my journals, they're gonna find some shit that they were like, did she really go through that?
That's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
I don't want people to find my middle school journals. They're in the back of my closet.
I'm talking about like 3 weeks ago.
Mood.
Hey, do we need to fight some people?
It's not so much fight, it's my inner demons going, bitch.
Okay, do we need to fight some inner demons?
Do you want us to punch you?
Okay.
Cause we can punch you if you want.
She considered it.
For a hot second. Okay.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, you know, those fun ups and downs that you go through every day.
I got you.
We got you.
So often.
Neurotypical team. Hey team, let's speaking of, let's jump into some shit.
Yeah.
Okay, Black Panther.
Yeah, we're talking about Black Panther today, and I am here to read some shit.
I didn't practice the names. I should have.
Dude. The names are...
It's okay, I wasn't on top of my shit last week, so I cannot say anything.
Oh, I mean, most of the names are actually I'm pretty familiar with.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
5 minutes later. Okay, so here is the here's a synopsis for Black Panther. T'Challa battles a powerful foe when his homeland of Wakanda is threatened. After the death of his father, the King of Wakanda, young T'Challa returns home to the isolated high-tech African nation to succeed to the throne and take his rightful place as king. But when a powerful enemy appears, T'Challa
T'Challa?
That's not the word I'm struggling over. It looks like they spelled metal wrong, but they didn't. METTLE. I thought it was MEDDLE. And I'm like...
Oh,
Yeah.
I always thought it was with a D.
Yeah. T'Challa's mettle as king and Black Panther is tested as he's drawn into a formidable conflict that puts the fate of Wakanda and the entire world at risk. Faced with treachery and danger, he must release the full power of Black Panther to defeat his foes and secure the safety of his people and their way of life. Some flashing lights, sequences, or patterns may affect photosensitive viewers.
That's fair.
Very nice tag at the end. Good to know. That is the summary. I'm done.
Excellent. So our general information. It was directed by Ryan. Brain?
I fucking told you. I said 5 minutes later.
5 minutes later. 3 seconds later. Colger. Oh, Kevin Feige.
Kugler?
Kugler? Cogler?
C-O-O,
Kugler.
Kugler.
My brain couldn't remember the sound.
I can tell.
Directed by Ryan Coogler. Produced by Kevin Feige. Feige? What? Listen.
I'm not. I said I don't believe you. You said it, and I went, what? Feige?
There's an I there.
A? F-E-I? Faye? Like feign? Feign a punch? F-E-I?
But there's no N. Well, anyway. Written by...
I before E, except after C.
You think I learned phonetics in my bitch-ass New Jersey school?
I learned that in college.
Oh.
So no, I don't.
Okay.
I still don't know English, so.
It's fine. English is very overrated.
Yeah, it really is.
Go ahead.
Written by Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole. Based on Black Panther by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Starring Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita
Lupita?
Nyong'o?
Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita Nyong'o.
Nyong'o.
There you go.
My brain was not accepting that for whatever reason. Lupita?
I'm leaving in when you said that these were going to be easy names.
Yeah. Yes, she got hot.
Denai Guria, Martin Freeman.
You saw Martin Freeman out there and said these are all going to be easy.
No, because I was like, okay.
No, because see, you go Chadwick Boseman,
We go to the
Michael
first
B.
one,
Jordan.
and you went.
I looked at the starring list and went, I know those first two. And then I went about halfway down and I saw Martin and Danielle. And I went, all right. And then I spotted down further and I was like, Ludwig, okay. Rachel, okay. Michael.
I can't wait to get to Ludwig's last name. Go ahead, go back. You were on
Martin Freeman, Danielle
Kaluuya.
Kaluuya. Letitia Wright, Winston Duke, Angela Bassett, Frost. What?
Forrest Whitaker.
I'm sorry.
I'm not laughing at you, we're laughing with you. It's specifically because you said these are going to be easy. And this is a riot.
Andy Serkis. Ludwig Circus.
Okay. Circus.
Is. It ends I-S. Kiss.
Circus.
I would think so.
Circus.
We haven't looked any of these up, so like, if Myra and I are also wrong, you can also laugh at us. None of us know.
Yep.
Ludwig Göransson
Did the music.
Thank you. Cinematography by Rachel Morrison.
Sorry. You were so confident right now, and I was like, she's like, finally.
Edited by Michael P. Schweier. And Debbie Bierman. Obviously, it's a Marvel Studios production. Distributed by the evil corporation that is Walt Disney Studios.
You don't want to get shut down yet. Don't call them evil yet.
I mean, they are, but like, we don't want them to know that we think that.
Yeah.
So, the giant monopoly that is Marvel.
Disney.
I mean, well, Marvel is now Disney,
Yeah.
so.
The giant monopoly that is Walt Disney Studios. It was released January 29th, 2018. And then its general release was released in February 2018. It is 134 minutes. Oh my god.
It was a long one, but a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was like going, oh my god.
Yeah.
So its budget was $200 million. Do you want to take a guess at how much it made? Even though you've looked, I can see it in your face.
I know I've looked. I knew it was one of the bigger grossing movies. I knew it hit $1 billion, but I didn't actually know how much past $1 billion it had cost.
$1.347 billion with a B in the box office, which makes it, from an article I found, granted this was from 2018, the third highest grossing film.
Yeah, I think, what is it?
To date.
That one, which is the other ones? I think, isn't Titanic one of the higher grossing?
It beat out Titanic for the third spot.
Oh, shit. Because I knew Titanic was up there in the high grossing films.
Titanic 100% was one of the highest grossing films.
So Titanic is now fourth.
I mean, Marvel's Endgame might have changed some of that, but
Hold on.
from the article, and like I said, it was from 2018 that I found, but
Hold on. Currently this is disgusting.
is it all Marvel?
Currently the highest grossing film, not adjusted for inflation. I'm looking at the ones from most recent, basically. The number one spot is still titles of Avengers Endgame, then Avatar, The Blue People.
Okay.
Titanic is third. The Force Awakens is fourth. Infinity Wars is fifth. Infinity Wars is fifth. Jurassic World is sixth. Lion King is seventh. Avengers is eighth. The Furious 7 is ninth. And Frozen 2 is 10th. Black Panther is 12th on the list currently.
And the article I read was wrong.
Maybe it was the highest grossing Avenger movie.
It might have been the highest grossing Avenger.
Yeah,
film
because
to date.
Black Panther came out in 2018. Age of Ultron was technically before them, which was right above him. Yeah, Avengers Infinity Wars and Endgame both came out after Black Panther. So at the very least, if you take both of those Avengers movies out, it would bump them up into the 10th
It might have
spot.
been the third highest grossing Marvel film from the time.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's your top 10 list. There were some up there that I was not expecting. Why did Jurassic World do so well?
Shit. I think probably because of Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Because he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
for that,
he lost a lot of weight initially.
For Avengers.
No, it's for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. But he did, but see, he got that peak at Guardians of the Galaxy and then did Jurassic World. So I think
right after
that followed his...
Okay.
So that's the general information.
I just knew Titanic was like number 3.
Yeah. I used to know the list by memory because it was required for college, but not anymore.
So Myra, would you like to lead us into the fun facts?
Yeah.
Did you do your work this week?
Yeah, I have it pulled up on my phone. I took notes on my phone.
Well,
I know before we head straight into that, can we just note that a lot of the highest grossing movies from the most recent times are owned by Disney?
Yeah.
Avengers, Star Wars, Avengers, Lion King, Avengers, Frozen.
Frozen was a good film, though.
It doesn't matter. That's 6 out of 10.
Owned by Disney.
Wait, yeah.
Who owns Titanic?
Oh.
Disney, maybe?
We'll hop into this for 2 seconds. Production company Paramount.
So no.
Yeah, so they got 6.
But no, America definitely doesn't have any monopoly issues at all.
What's a monopoly?
What's
I don't have that.
No, the
burden.
reason I was asking is because,
they've been buying up films left and right.
Not just films, they've been buying up filming companies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they own Fox now, which is 21st Century.
Yeah.
They own,
Anyways.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into it. We know
they're evil. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that out loud.
Definitely
Don't anger the mouse.
So, for starters, this film has 3 of the major villains in the comic book, which is Killmonger, Manape, which I'm so glad they changed his name to M'Baku.
Oh, M'Baku is supposed to be
Manape.
Yo.
Okay, let's ignore the racial undertones of that. It sounds like mayonnaise.
Also, the whole
I can't.
like
Who looked at that and went, yes?
there's nothing wrong with basically naming a character Monkey.
Dude, that's what's his original name in the comic book, okay?
I'm glad they changed it.
Yes.
And of course, Claw.
See that?
Or Klaus. What is his name? Klaus?
Claw.
Claw.
So yeah. So those are 3 major villains throughout the Black Panther.
They had 3 villains in that film. That's surprising.
Well, so yeah, so you know, of course, I'm glad they changed M'Baku's name.
Oh my God, yes.
God. So I have a lot of tidbits about Killmonger and the actor. So I'm gonna start with the people.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I know his name.
Okay.
I was gonna. Let
just-
me finish my thought.
Sit with me.
So I'm gonna go through mostly things that are portrayed through character. So starting with Killmonger / Michael B. Jordan. Obviously the mask that he finds in the museum is actually mimicking the mask that he wears as a villain. He also gets, when he takes the position of Black Panther, he wears something more of a leopard looking suit. If you actually notice, it has the leopard spots instead of the just plain old black, and his suit goes more gold, which is more of the color of the leopard. And the reason that is because the comic name, the Black Panther name was changed temporarily back in the 60s due to the fact that shortly after the comic came out, the Black Panther Party came. So they changed it so that they would not
get caught up in the media storm.
Yeah. So they changed it to Black Leopard.
That just doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, thank God they switched it back. Obviously, another connection for the... Where did it go? This is more for Michael B. Jordan. So, Killmonger's outfit that he wears before he turns... Yes?
No. I was like, which one?
The one he wears, like, that looks like a military suit. If you pay attention, if anybody who is an anime fan notices a connection, his outfit is supposed to mimic Vegeta's outfit.
I am not of the DBZ variety, but I did get that level of flavor. I was like, that looks like something out of like a 90s anime. It's kind of nice.
Can we explain for the anime people?
Vegeta is a villain and a prince in Dragon Ball.
Oh!
He is an anti-hero. And actually, this is a nod to Michael B. Jordan because he's a huge anime fan. So the what is it? The costume designers did that for him as a nod because he likes anime.
I got this just for you. Keep your money.
So I thought that was really cool. Talking about costumes, though, I mean, the detail that they put to the costumes and the culture of Wakanda is a great nod because they pulled that straight from African culture, which is amazing. I mean, they didn't really try to Americanize it.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't delved as deeply into the like hyper lore, they wrote Wakanda as a situation where the colonists never got to them. So their style and way of culture, their way of life, their culture, was not influenced by white settlers or the slave trade or anything. So their culture and way of dress was able to naturally progress the same way that like Europe's did and America's did. It was allowed to come to fruition without influence.
External influence.
External influence.
And also, we will be speaking of this more.
Yes. Another interesting thing is that they did with the costuming is when they're in Korea and you see Nakia, T'Challa, and Okai? Okoye?
Okoye?
Okoye.
Okoye.
I can never say her name right, so I apologize. But when you see them together, the way they're standing, they're actually the colors for the Pan-African flag.
Oh, wow.
So, because the Pan-African flag is a green stripe, a black stripe, and a red stripe. So that Nakia, T'Challa's in black, Nakia's in green, and then Okoye is in red. And also that's their character, how their colors for their characters are, which I thought was very interesting. Another interesting fact is the fact that they used Oakland as a location for the film, as far as like where the movie starts, and it doesn't just. So the reason they decided to use Oakland as the first opening scene was because it was the birthplace of the Black Panther Party. Which was founded in 1966, just a few weeks after the Marvel character had come out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So obviously that led Marvel and Stan Lee and Jack
Kirby.
Kirby.
It's literally it's spelled the same too. Kirby.
Yeah, Jack Kirby, to change the name of the Black Panther. Obviously, because at the time, the political unsettlement and everything like that.
Which is a real shame, because the origins of the Black Panther Party were literally just a bunch of, like, I want to say UCLA students shouting laws at people being arrested so they would know their Miranda rights. Yeah, which we now know as the Miranda rights because of the work that the Black Panther Party did.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think the Black Panther Party obviously later on got worse things attached to them, but that was further and later on.
Yeah.
Another cool little thing, I know us as a group, when we were watching the film together, we were like talking about how they chose actors to look like their younger selves. Mm-hmm. Nice little note I thought you might all like. So King T'Chaka,
his dad,
if you think that his younger self looks a lot like him, and it was very interesting that they found an actor that looks a lot like him, is because it's his son who plays his younger self.
Wow. Oh. That's a really good move.
Yeah. So, other couple of things, it's more to do with Shuri, because Shuri, sorry.
Shuri?
I don't know why I called her Shuri.
I think it's
Shuri. So, her character has a lot of Easter eggs, if you will. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have the fact that she has her hair as Princess Leia when you first meet her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And technically, she is a Disney princess now, because Disney owns Black Panther.
The amount of Disney princesses that they gained by making the not monopoly that they are.
Another thing is she brought up the line of, or the vine of, what are those? When she's talking about the shoes, her brother's shoes.
The sandals.
She also did the throwback to Back to the Future. When she goes, you remember Dad's movie that he liked about those shoes? So the Nike shoes from Back to the Future, part 2. She also, she's the character that does the most throwbacks, which is great.
I love her so much.
Oh, another interesting little tidbit is how this film is sort of connected to Doctor Strange, because the location of all the warmongers that were ready to prepare to attack were New York, London, and Hong Kong. Where are the 3 locations that they have the sanctuaries? New York, London, and Hong Kong.
Wait, I'm sorry, the sanctuary what's?
So in Doctor Strange, they have locations of
Oh,
special
fuck! Oh my god!
Yo,
That took like 8 years. And I was like, what the fuck is a sanctuary? Who is this strange man? And then my brain went, you know him and you like him. Why is this happening?
And of course, you know, Michael B. Jordan's connection to Captain America.
Uh-huh.
The fact that he played,
oh, fuck.
what's his name? Johnny Storm or Flame. What's his fucking name?
Human Torch?
Human Torch. Thank you. He played the Human Torch in the remake of Fantastic Four. In the original Fantastic Four, Chris Evans played Human Torch.
Listen, that was such a, like...
That was great. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So, another interesting connection that Michael B. Jordan has to actors. So, in All My Children, we're going to soap operas now.
Oh, no.
He played Reggie Montgomery. But guess who also played Reggie Montgomery before Michael B. Jordan did?
Who?
Chadwick Boseman.
Oh.
They played the same character in All My Children.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was pretty cool that they got to be almost, it's a parallel at that point because they got to be the same character. And lastly is Marvel's nod to whales.
Nod?
Yes, nod. Thank you.
You said node?
I know, I said that wrong.
And I was like, oh, a node?
No.
Like a lymph node?
A lymph node?
So, I have to write node all the time at work, so I'm sorry.
You're fine. You said this and I went, surely Myra knows what that word is. What am I not connecting?
So Marvel gives Wales a big nod because technically Wales is part of the United Kingdom, so they don't have their flag hanging in the for the UN.
Mm-hmm.
They actually hung their flag when they're doing the UN scene. In the background, if you play close attention, they have the Wales flag.
Oh, I wonder who else's flag they flew that they probably shouldn't have.
I'm curious. I was trying to look at them, but they fly by so fast. I did catch the Wales one, though, which I was like, oh, shit. So those are my little tidbits. There's probably a lot more out there, but those I thought were fun, especially the fact that, you know, they made a whole outfit for Michael B. Jordan based on Vegeta.
She just fucking spoiled shit for me.
Again?
Straight from the transcripts, no less. I didn't know that.
Oh, God. Sam.
Anyways.
But yeah, those are the fun tidbits.
I love them. They're so great and not spoilery.
I know.
Where do we want to start with this delightfully rich film?
We could start with the costuming because I think that was something that I already touched.
Oh my god, yes.
And another thing I forgot to mention is the fact that they, even with when Bucky shows up at the very, very, very end,
hella spoilers.
They give him Captain American colors, red and blue.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah, we're not getting too much into Captain America's shit. My brain went, ooh, grab it, and I didn't. So
No,
don't
grab
I'm
it.
vocalizing that we're not grabbing him.
Although there is a reference to him. There's
so many references.
I'm going to say one thing about this. Oh, wait, can I do first impressions? Because I have never seen it before.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have not actually seen this film before. When it came out, I was kind of starting out on a burnout for Marvel. Their stuff was starting to get repetitive. I was kind of over it. I didn't really feel like investing too much into new characters. So I was barely following along with, like, the core stuff, the Avengers movies. There were a lot of, I think Ragnarok also came out around that time, and I also didn't see it until very recently. It was good shit, though.
Yeah.
And then I was going to watch this one way sooner, but then we started doing this podcast, and I was like, nah, this seems like a really hit movie. We'll probably watch it sooner rather than later, so I waited. It was really good, and I have so many regrets for not watching it, because I've learned something. Marvel does their movies so much better when they let people who are not on the main plot lines roster write their shit.
Yes.
The director, y'all know me, I don't do names well. The director for this movie hit this so far out of the park in so many different lights. Ryan Coogler?
Yes.
Coogler? Yeah. Yeah, Ryan Coogler. He hit it so far out of the park with this that I was blown away. I got up to come over here to finish recording, and I got up to come over here, and I thought that I had maybe watched like 30, 40 minutes of the movie, and I found out that I was an hour and a half in, and I still had an hour to go.
Yeah.
And to be able to disguise time like that to your viewer, I didn't know that I had been sitting there for an hour and a half watching this movie. I thought that I had been sitting there for maybe 30 minutes. The work of a good movie is when you don't realize how much time has passed.
Yes.
And they pulled that off so exemplarily. I don't know how to say that. No, I was adding more to it. Anyway, so it was really good. I have the complaints I have are few and sparse, and
You know my
cannot.
complaints.
Huh?
I said, you know my complaints.
We didn't talk about them.
The snow. That's my complaint.
Okay, that's fine. I have thoughts about the snow, but we'll get into it in a moment. Okay, those are my thoughts. I thought that I was in for a good movie, and I found a great movie on accident.
Yeah, I had seen it before, and still great the second time around. Third time around. Because I saw it in theaters, and then I made my parents watch it because they hadn't seen it. So we rented it from Redbox, and then I watched it again for this film, and it's so great. They handle so many subjects so well, and the costume design and the score and the soundtrack, it's just, oh my gosh, it is so good.
Yeah, so I'm not going to mention how many times I've seen this movie.
That's fine. I would not blame you for whatever the number is. It was. I'm going.
It's
to be
an
so
amazing film. So like,
I want you guys to understand something about me now. That I watch films repetitively.
Yeah, it's your comfort thing.
It's a comfort thing, but I also do it because sometimes I feel like I miss things.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to watch movies over and over and over again. Sometimes it gets boring, but I like to watch them so that I can make sure I catch things that I maybe
potentially missed.
Yeah, that's also why I do the Easter eggs, because my dumbass self will watch a movie. This is the 4th time this week I've seen that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen it this past year, so actually
we just started a new year, Myra.
This in 2020, hun.
Oh. I thought you
and then I just stopped myself because that's a fucking lie. Because during my quarantine,
I was about to be like, you also had a whole ass quarantine.
Yeah, while I was on furlough, I decided to have a Marvel week, and I watched the entire series, like
the entire MCU
universe, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only movie I didn't see was the newest Spider-Man, and that's because they had just come out.
I also need to see the Spider-Mans. I have an issue with the MCU Spider-Mans right now. They're not related to Tom Holland. He's a pure being, and he's doing very good.
He's doing so good. And also,
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna a little off topic. The second one of his series does a lot better job of separating him from Iron Man than.
Here is my chief complaint about the current Spider-Man, the treatment of Scarlet Witch, and the erasure of the X-Men. I'm aware that there's some issue right now going on. Well, didn't they buy Fox? Is there no longer...
X-Men is currently owned by Sony, which they can't
Whatever.
buy.
Okay, despite that, I'm still going to lump them in because they're still a part of the Marvel universe, whether or not they're part of the MCU, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here is my chief complaint. Your world is supposed to have mutants, point blank. Where the fuck are they, and why do you keep erasing them? I am aware that the Spider-Man that we follow is a canon-compliant Spider-Man from the comics. I just don't like that they turned him into a Tony Stark replacement piece and made him not have fucking superpowers.
So, technically, they can't use the word mutant because it's a copywritten...
No, it's fine. My point is they should be able to have superpowers. They fine, no mutant, off the table. My point is that feature, whatever you want to call it...
Organic superpowers?
Yes, organic superpowers is a thing. And the only organically superpowered person currently in that series, they basically stole from X-Men. And they fucked up her backstory.
Well, they had to fuck up her backstory because they couldn't take it from X-Men.
They killed off her brother in a stupid way.
Yeah, that's fair.
So also they could have done a
Quicksilver
lot.
had rights.
Yeah, they also could have done a lot better job than have a Jewish legacy character whose father canonically escaped concentration camps be experimented on by Nazi scientists.
Yeah.
But that is an entirely separate conversation that we could potentially get into.
The
We'll
TLDR,
get into it when we get
TLDR
there.
of this is I am not a huge fan of the direction Marvel's going in making their characters be inorganically powered. But however, turning this back into Black Panther specifically, I do really like that his powers were kind of organic. Maybe not biological, but definitely organic.
Yes.
Yeah. No matter who you are, if you eat this flower's seed, you will gain the powers of Black Panther.
Yes.
Point blank. There is no other way around it. And you don't even have to do the ritual. We saw that in the movie. You don't have to do the fancy ritual. Basically, you have to have one person be like, hey, gods, I promise this dude's tight. Okay?
He's legit.
Like, I'm here to, like, co-sign on the powers for him.
Yeah.
I'm here to be his power sponsor.
Yeah. And, like, honestly, the gods don't even double check it. They just kind of pop, bam, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, they go, all right, I guess he's cool.
But I loved that return to form for the Marvel universe in general, because it's something that I, as a viewer, love. I love when people just have powers in their blood and don't have to worry about a fucking piece of equipment to grab.
And you know what? I do like that it felt... I never have actually read the comic, so I can't say it's true from the comic. But I know... I've known bits and pieces of the comic because my brother has read the comic. And I like the fact that they kept a lot of things that are based on the comic there. And it, as far as like the eating the plant and how they become the Black Panther... and is still organic to based on how they actually did it in the comic. And I like that they kept that because you're right, in a lot of the newer and some of the older Marvel movies, they forgot how Stan Lee created these characters.
Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and there was another predominant Marvel writer besides those two.
Mm-hmm.
But they forgot how they created these characters.
And so what I've seen of the reviews and commentary of Black Panther is that it is one of the most faithful screen to comic book to screen adaptations that Marvel has ever done.
That's fair. Something that I think that creators in general need to understand when working with a piece of media that's close to people's hearts, whether through fandom or through revolution or whatever it may be, through representation, it doesn't matter. When it's close to someone's heart, sticking closer to the source material is always going to be better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand with Marvel, the universe is so large.
Yeah.
There's so many different expansions through the comics, through everything. I mean, I think
they're the first major title to have done something like this on the big screen.
Yeah. That's fair.
I commend them for that. I would not say that every execution has been amazing.
No.
But there are a lot of standouts, and this is certainly one of them.
Especially in their later phase films.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they did do what they did with this film because it is a beautifully done film.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because one of my main complaints with Marvel, like Jay was saying, is that a lot of their later films have become fundamentally formulaic. It was, you got your superhero, they're established, there's a villain, they're gonna fight, the hero's gonna get beaten down. And like, to an extent, Black Panther does follow that formula.
Not really, though.
But it doesn't at the same time.
I would not say that it does. Okay, I'm putting my hand down for a second. I would not say that it does, because we do not get a established hero.
That's fair.
We get a young man who is an established bodyguard to his father, who is then a king.
I forgot to go over the themes.
Oh, we'll do that in a second.
Yeah.
Who is then a king. So we have a king trying to figure out how to rule his lands, who is then faced with an enemy, who is then taken out by a new enemy, who is then replaced. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
They, I guess they do follow a superhero formula in that there is a super person defeating a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But they took that thing and turned it on their head as much as they could.
And yes,
the amount of fake outs for the bad guy that we had was so. Because at first you think the one guy is going to be the bad guy, the one who challenged him to be king.
Oh yeah.
But it's a complete red herring from the get go. That dude is like, no, I had my shot, I did it, and we're good now.
Yeah.
Like as close to good as we can be. I tried my shot and I failed it. Then you've got the actual bad guy who's like, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm crazy and some kind of
Smeagol.
See, Australian?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, whatever.
They can make him sound Australian.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
And then you have him killed by the real bad guy.
That was such a good. I can't wait to talk about that.
It's such a good twist. I feel like because of all of that, they really tried as hard as they could to break away from formula.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna back up and go to the themes, and then we should probably actually talk about the costumes because we started doing that and then immediately stopped.
Yes. So the themes are family, legacy, sins of the parents are the sins of the child. The legacy of slavery across the entire world, not just in it does touch mostly on American
slavery, yeah,
but also across the world and how it affected Africa. Self-identity, worthiness, connections, reparations for our wrongdoings, and also rebirth.
You know what I kind of called most of that? The Steven Universe syndrome, and not in a bad way.
I would say also, and one that you didn't mention is nature versus nurture.
Explain.
Because I think a little bit of that is in there with the parallels of the cousins.
So T'Challa and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his Wakandan name. I'm sorry. They say it like once.
Njaku
or something like that.
Yeah. Because I guess it's more nurture versus nurture, but because you see, he's more raised. Obviously, after his father's death, he's.
I would say they're more literary foils than.
Yeah, because we don't see enough of either of their childhoods to make that call.
Fair.
In my mind.
Yeah, for me, they were more.
It totally could be.
I'm not saying you're incorrect. I would just say because we don't have the data points for it, I would say they're just mostly written as literary foils as opposed to anything else.
Okay. No.
It would be really cool to get some backstory on that, and I'm going to get ahead of myself. We should talk about the costumes before I go on a runaway train.
So the costumes are absolutely stunning and rich and vibrant, and they were designed by actual. I want to say they actually pulled fashion designers from Africa.
I would assume they had. I don't have a degree in fashion or anything like that, but I do have a imaginary degree in watching documentaries on YouTube.
Yep.
And I saw one a while ago. This is not fresh in my mind on the fashion, or at least the cultural clothing of some tribes in Africa. Mm-hmm. And I was really, or not tribes, but regions. That was the wrong wording. I'm sorry. The documentary went over a lot of stuff. Like, there's one group that bends their neck to elongate the neck, and the warriors of the
the personal army of the king.
Yeah, they all have something that resembles that without actually doing the practice. One of the
river tribes has the lip
big
disc.
Yep, the lip disc. Really big hoop earrings. That was one. It just they pulled so much from the local regions. It was so cool.
The from the face paints to the scarring.
You know, some of those that look like face paints, they're actually scarring from those there's I think a tribe, specifically a tribe, is not necessarily regional, that actually to show that you're a man once you have actually
like adulthood,
like a
the
transition,
rite of passage.
the rite of passage. They actually do like the little scarring, which actually the scarring that he the Killmonger has reminded me a lot of that, because they do the little scarring in different patterns, and it's supposed to resemble like an alligator.
I don't know if you were in the room when I found this out, but I looked it up, and they actually they applied over 90, I think it was, individual silicone pieces.
So each one of those scars
is their own individual thing. So they were made of silicone, but it wasn't a full body piece or pieces of one. They took 2.5 hours to glue those things into place every fucking time he was on set, and then whenever he had to get them off, he had to sit in a sauna for 2 hours to get them to slowly fall off one by one.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that must have been...
that is some dedication
That's a
to
long
application,
day.
and it shows.
Yeah,
They looked like scars. Oh, what was that? There's a specific phrase for the way that they stylized the
film
Afrofuturism.
Oh yes, the entire film is
centered around it.
Centered around Afrofuturism, and is considered like the current gold standard for Afrofuturism, which, for those of you who may not be familiar, is an exploration of the Black experience through a sci-fi lens, and that's deeply paraphrasing, but most writers and artists and sociologists who go to describe Afrofuturism used to have this long academic definition of Afrofuturism, and now they can just go, oh, like Wakanda, and they're like, yeah, I got you,
Yeah, we have a real world example that's known very, very well,
and it explores how the Black experience would have been different had they not had as much or at all influence from colonization or the European influence.
Yeah.
I
gotta admit, that's something that I think would be... I find it very interesting that they did that, because thinking more about it, the colonization affected so many people in so many ways, and like seeing this film in like a, not historical, but like a cultural way, it's very interesting to see that if colonization really in a idyllic world would have never happened, the culture that could have come out, and I mean, it's still, there's the potential still there, it's still definitely going to be more affected by colonization and everything like that, but I think that's just the same with any location, because I mean, you have the Native Americans here who it would have been very interesting to see how their culture would have developed within time. Same with like the native tribes in Mexico.
Side note, have you ever seen, I'm not sure about Mexico, but have you ever seen depictions of the Native American like cities that used to stand? Because a lot of historians say that they were like nomads that were just intense, but they had whole cities.
Yeah, no, I mean,
huge.
Yeah, we ignore a lot of the culture and civilization.
They already had a huge society here, and we
destroyed it.
Yeah, I agree. That is another story that I would love for someone to
and I mean, for instance, like in Mexico, you also have the Aztec pyramids that, a couple of them still stand, but for a very long, it's
loose.
It's loose, and I'm trying to tighten it, and it won't tighten. So
it tightens down there.
Hey guys, welcome to the mid-roll. Not a whole lot of updates this week. The hints were posted up on Twitter and Instagram, and no one guessed. Sad face. But if you thought to yourself, hey, that kind of looks like Black Panther, you were right. Congratulations. New hints will be up momentarily. Also a new hint at the end of the episode. Yeah. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. We look forward to next week's Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. Have fun.
But yeah, a society that can build something like the were they called pyramids or temples?
They were temples, but they were pyramids. But
yeah, a society that can build something like that to the large extent that they did,
and
is not the uncivilized portrayal that white historians like to peddle.
And I think that is probably something that we would have seen in Africa, but unfortunately, the colonization of Africa destroyed so many cultures. I mean, we forget that Egypt is in Africa, which it is, you know. But Egypt was one of those locations that they were colonized, but not as bad as further south. And if Egypt, who is just a bit further up the Nile, you have these amazing architectures that they created. What makes you think that they didn't have this further south?
Well, that and we forget that Egypt wasn't just that little corner in the top right corner, or top left corner. No, right. Top right corner of Africa. It encompassed where modern Nigeria is as well at the time, historical Egypt. And because the people indigenous to that region were darker skin tone, white historians have systematically separated the two.
Yep.
Which is not fair. It's
no, because
every continent that you go to has a mix of people with certain skin tones and others. Like there is no, even if you go to the entire continent of most of Europe, and it's technically connected to Russia and India and all most of Asia except for Japan. Those are all connected. So if you go to that continent, that whole piece. Maybe not. I don't know if it's a continent. I failed geography multiple times.
Eastern Europe,
yeah,
and then Asia are considered two different continents,
but they attach, right?
But Asia and Eastern Europe do connect because of Russia.
Yeah. So my point is, you can be on this. This is now. I need everyone to sit down because this is going to be a bit of a shock. Okay, you can live on the same piece of rock as someone and have a different skin tone. Naturally. I know. I needed to sit.
Whoa.
Some people need to sit down, I was shocked too.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
I mean,
sorry, emphasis on the sarcasm.
Yeah. I mean, people forget that most of these places are connected through some piece of land. We are the only the
United States?
Not United States, but the
North America?
North America and South America are the only two continents that are not connected to the rest of the world through land, because
Australia?
Oh yeah. Never mind.
Well,
Australia obviously, but Australia has its own
Greenland.
Greenland is part of
It's
Europe.
connected to
Antarctica.
Wait. Canada.
Is it?
No, Greenland. No,
Greenland stands on its own, but it's part
of
a
big island. You're right.
It's part of Europe.
Okay, we've been on this for a minute.
Yeah.
It's an hour.
Shit.
You went. No, let me finish. Oh wait.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see how they were able to backtrack and actually pull things from actual African cultures that are still alive and great and bearing, and
it's so
modern.
vibrant.
Yes.
I would like to just wrap this up this segment up by saying it's kind of like when you look back into white history, or which we have history. All of the fancy people wore suits and button-up shirts with big hats and slacks and nice shoes. That was the fancy attire. People would wear that to be an upstanding citizen. We still do that. It might have changed a little bit as time has gone on, but that is still a pinnacle of, like, look at me and my fanciness, okay? Women traditionally would wear big flowy dresses and, like, or at least, like, something nice looking with a nice hat and a handbag. We still do that. We still have some of the same colors. We still follow those same traditions. So I love that they took that and moved it in the same direction.
And, like,
it was
yeah.
okay. So I would like to talk about the actual plot of the movie.
Yes.
Yes. So I love T'Challa as a character. He's such an antithesis of what Hollywood has peddled for such a long time as, like, the traditional, like, black hero.
I don't think it's fair to even put him on the same ranking with that whole, like,
and
because he's
on
like
such
we just
another-
finished talking about. He is literally not.
They did such a good job writing him, and it's a tribute to the writers and the directors and how they actually had black writers and directors telling black stories.
So I guess what I was specifically thinking was, like, the world building, and this is my bread and butter. I love this shit. And I am going to say a thing that might sound weird at first, but you gotta let me finish the thought. I would love to see more of the common folk from Wakanda and from other, like, adjacent tribes and stuff like that, because the way that they run their whole thing, their whole culture and everything, their whole nation is really similar to, like, how Japan sealed itself off, and really similar to how, like, China tried to do that for a little bit.
Isolationism.
It's very isolationism, and it's very much so isolationism. And in some cases, the people of that, region will be like, yeah, fine, whatever, I don't want to leave. But in other cases, it's a detriment. And that is the one piece of world building that I kind of wish we would have gotten from the film. I would have loved to see how the common folk behave in relation to it.
I agree. One thing I want to...
Because, okay, let me rephrase real quick. T'Challa and all of the higher up people in the government and stuff leave, leave willingly and stuff, but those countries that I just listed also did that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how, I'm sorry.
Go.
When Eric comes in and, like, fucks shit up, he fundamentally criticizes the established bourgeoisie of Wakanda. And he comes in handcuffs after arriving in Wakanda, but everything about his body language, his tone, his posture radiates control and power, and that is something I absolutely loved. He comments about, yeah, you're here comfy in your palace on your throne, and you have all of this wealth. Not everybody has that, and just because you are a king doesn't mean that, like, everyone else is, and maybe you should take a look around.
Playing off more of Jay's thing.
Sorry, I thought it was connected.
A little bit, kind of.
You have rights.
I think he's not necessarily just talking about the people in the palace, though.
What I'm saying is I would like to have seen from the common folk how they behave in a closed-off society. Are they happy about it? Is there a move to open Wakanda? We see how T'Challa deals with it, but not how his people feel about it. We see how their leaders feel about it, but not how the people feel about it. So what I was saying is we have a very royalist perspective on the isolation of Wakanda, but we don't have a personalized. Because, okay, I'm going to say a thing, and it's not in direct comparison, but it's the best real world one I have right now, okay? North Korea is closed off to the rest of the world. The people don't like that, but the government will never tell you that.
I mean, yeah.
So I guess what I mean is we are seeing how the government feels about a lot of things, and I would have loved to see how the people feel about them. Not necessarily saying it's going to be like North Korea. Like I said earlier, Japan was also closed off to the world for a long time, and most of the people there vibed with it. The only people allowed in Japan ports for a while were some Dutch people, and they were like, look, we made electricity, and Japan went, whack, you got more books? Here's some art. And they went, whack, yeah, here's some more books. We also make cars, and they went, whack.
You have different medicine? What do your doctors say? Here's what our doctors say.
Basically, yeah. So, like, but aside from those very sparse interactions, the whole of the Japanese people were like, yeah, we don't care if we're closed off to the rest of the world. This is fine. We've got rice, we've got food, we've got wealth,
we've got culture. We're good.
So my question is, which side does the population of Wakanda fall on?
I think had...
Also, she should probably go first because she was waiting. Sorry. You're good.
You do keep interrupting me. I'm sorry.
No, I was explaining to Sam where I was going with it, so she knew.
So, what I was trying to agree with you and disagree with you in parts because I think the Wakanda people, yes, they're isolated to keep their society safe, but I don't think they were as isolated as we think they were.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
The reason I say that is because we see their advanced technology not just in her lab but throughout the city when they're walking through and seeing everything.
Even in the farmers.
Yes, even in the farmers they have advanced technology. So my thought is obviously they have access to the internet.
What are those?
What are those?
So exactly. So they are not fully closed off, but I think I agree with you. I would like to see how they would feel about opening their borders.
I have one question for you, and I'm done after this, I promise.
But so when you say that he's coming in and going, well, you guys are high and mighty, I think he's talking about the whole society, not just necessarily the leaders.
For sure.
Because he's saying you guys are here being happy while you let other people suffer.
I have one question for you. If all it takes to be happy in isolation is updated technology, does that mean that America was super happy about being in quarantine?
Yes.
Actually, I think it depends on the person you ask.
And that's why I'm curious.
Yeah, because I'll admit, if I hadn't had, like, 6 little children fucking living in my house at the time, during quarantine I would have been happy as hell because I didn't have shit to do. I couldn't leave the house, so the house was always spotless.
So I think the Wakandan people, depending on which tribe we're looking at, because the way it's described in the movies, each tribe has a different industry that they're responsible for.
Yes.
So like we've got the herders, and we've got the river people, and we've got all of these other tribes. I don't remember all of them.
It's 5 tribes, so
I think one of them was Or. So
Riv-
probably be
river shepherds, or
the mountain
people, and then whatever T'Challa's tribe
Technology.
is. Technology, I guess.
Taking all of those things and turning them into something super fucking useful.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep clicking my pen. I would imagine that some of those people get to leave to sell their wares that aren't like super technology, because they see the outside world sees Wakanda as a farming and textile nation.
But you have to keep in mind, because of how secretive they are, there probably has to be a clearance level to leave.
Yep.
That is fair. That is 100% fair.
And I'm so curious. I want to know. This is one of my baby nitpicks about the plot. I want them to spend like another 2.5 hours telling me about the people of Wakanda and how they feel about their fucking lives.
I honestly, part of me wishes it was a whole ass series.
Like dead ass.
I mean, I think technically they were gonna try to make it a series, but with
not like a TV series.
I meant a TV series,
or like an animated series.
Because here's my
Well,
thing.
here's my thing. You have the comic, so that could answer your question.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't have time to read the comic. I'm sorry.
I don't like American comics.
They're they're
discussed
really
it.
hard to follow.
American comics.
It's like, okay, you can spend like $15 on the whole book and you'll get one whole plot line, all right? Fine. You get one whole plot line. Or you can spend $1.50 to up to $1 million depending on which issue you need, getting the individuals, and all it's going to be is I'm going to fight you. And then to the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather just read a manga where it's got 10 million chapters in one book. No. It's a whole little baby arc.
No, I totally agree.
Like, you don't have to worry about timelines or which issue or plot.
Yeah.
No, but like, there's not all these reboots that you have to worry about.
Oh, no, I agree.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z is an outlier, and there's
Naruto.
Anyway,
Sailor Moon.
9 times out of 10.
Tokyo Mew Mew.
I mean, shit.
No, but those are the anime reboots.
No, those are the mangas.
Sailor Moon got rebooted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the originals. I wish I had the originals.
How many times has it been rebooted, though?
Yes.
Sailor Moon only got rebooted once. Shockingly.
Negima has like 3. Tokyo Mew Mew has like 3. The original series is Tokyo Mew Mew, and then the second one is Tokyo Mew Mew a la mode, and then the third one is like... Yeah.
Alice and the Clover has like 6.
Anyways.
We're on a tangent. It depends. I will say American ones are much worse about it.
Yes.
They are worse.
And it's a lot harder to follow them.
Uh-huh.
And like with all their crossovers and everything else, like if you don't read the crossovers, then you fundamentally miss an element of the story. And
I mean, do we agree that comics are good? Sure. Do we agree that the comics in the US
suck?
Could be better.
Oh yes.
Just put them all on a website and give them to me, and if I like them, I'll pay for them. No, I know, but like I don't want to pay for them up front because. Okay, we're definitely not doing illegal things. It's fine.
Anyways,
yeah.
I was like,
what else you got?
I would like to talk about Eric.
Dude, he's such a good character. Such a good
honestly
villain.
I love him so much.
He's an anti-hero, though.
I would definitely classify him much more as an anti-hero. Well,
I would not use the word hero.
Anti-villain.
Anti-villain.
I want to say he's an anti-villain, at least for the first half of the film.
Am I thinking of the same Eric?
Okay, so here's what I love.
Yeah, because you
about
don't know where he stands until that moment where he
shoots his girlfriend.
Okay. No, let me say a thing.
Okay.
An anti-hero is someone who does heroic things either despite of or in opposition of what you expect them to do or what they've done in the past.
Okay.
And vice versa, an anti-villain would do the same thing, which means in the end he would end up doing something like... I don't know.
He's a villain.
He feels like a twist villain to me.
Okay.
Giving him the title of anti-villain sounds like he started out like, I don't know, super duper innocent bystander, like Huey.
Okay.
Huey would be an anti-villain. He starts out with absolutely no ties whatsoever to anything, and as things go on, he gets more and more like corrupted.
Okay.
But
he's a villain.
His introduction is so good because we see him in the British Museum of History.
Yes.
And first of all, his art look, absolutely
it was awesome.
Yes. So good. So good.
Literally, they went to that scene and I was like, who's this? What's going on?
Fashion boy.
Are we looking at a latte later?
He's our new Alexa.
And like in a good way. Like.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people were simping over him. They were like, you know,
they're still simping over him.
They're still simping over him.
He is the new Alexa.
Okay, you're right. We watched that whole ass commercial.
You showed that commercial, and I was like, I don't see why. And then he talked as Alexa, and I was like, I mean, okay, never mind. I don't care anymore. Do what you want.
And he loved the tub scene.
Anyways, he asks for the expert on the African artifacts within the museum, and the person who comes out is some British white lady.
Mm-hmm.
And it just speaks volumes to the disregard and neglect that
we as a society
have for the artifacts and the people that were stolen.
Yeah, it's kind of like how when if you were to go into a gender and women's study class and this, like, white dude was sitting at the front of the table. Like,
yeah.
It's not that it's a problem. Just what comes out of your mouth in the first 10 minutes really determines whether this is a problem or not.
Yeah.
And I think she failed that test.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would say that is definitely a testament that the movie made to how society currently, even to this day, still neglects what has been done in the past.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Eric goes on this whole speech about how, do you think these people got these artifacts fairly? Do you think they bought them? Do you think they...
That's my favorite fucking argument for anyone who steals from a museum. Like, on one hand, no, I want to go and look at the pretty things, but on the other hand, bitch, that was stolen from you! Take it back!
Yeah. Right. And it was so good. And then he comes in and is all like, here you go. I got this just for you.
Oh my god, what was the first villain's name? Side note?
Claw?
Claw. I loved him, okay? That dude was the chaotic mess that I love in a villain, okay? He causes one thing to go horribly wrong, and he's just like, little gremlin hands all over this shit.
He's like, I caused chaos, and this is exactly what I wanted.
So he goes to fucking give the detective that piece of vibranium?
Vibranium.
Ooh, I remembered it, and then my brain went, wait, do you? He goes to give him the vibranium, and he's expecting him to, like, pull out, like, at least a box. He just fucking... I didn't have a box. It would cost too much money. That's a mood!
Which isn't even true, because he's...
super not.
He's like, I didn't want to give you a box, so I kept it in my pants. and fucking Agent Ross is like... Ew.
Literally, he goes to get it out of his pants, and Agent Ross just kind of goes, "Are you fucking serious? I don't want to live through this right now. Can you get your shit together, dude? What the fuck?
Ew, David."
One thing I did want to mention that's different than the comics that I did find out is Killmonger's backstory.
Ooh.
So he is not the son of a prince.
Oh.
His family actually was born in Wakanda, and his family got exiled. So his reasoning to come back and take over is not so much revenge, but anger towards that exile.
I would say that's still revenge, because
it's a different flavor of revenge.
Yes.
It's like Coke and Coke Zero. Like, you're still getting revenge. It's just it tastes different.
Yes.
I kind of like how they twisted it up though, because the whole drama with the dad, it really helped spur a change in T'Challa that I don't think we really would have seen quickly otherwise.
Yeah.
So it was more rage. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
He had more rage towards the royal family for being exiled
versus
than revenge for his father's death.
Yeah, this is more of like that cold, simmering, long, calculated anger versus I'm going to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And real quick, the scene where he's like derobing to fight for the crown. And he has this whole speech, and when I was watching it at home, we ended up rewinding a little too far when I was finishing it here. When I was watching it at home, I was like, man, that feels a little too scripted. But when we rewatched it, I was like, it feels scripted in the right way, though, because it's almost like he has been rehearsing those lines for so long, and he finally gets to say them.
Because he goes, every kill that I've made is a kill step
I've
closer
killed, I've lied.
to kill you.
Yeah.
And, like, we've all had our revenge speeches practiced in the showers. I know I have had my revenge speeches practiced in the shower.
Yep.
Oh.
Some of them we can't say because the moment has passed and you're like, oh.
I would... some people... Anyway.
I'm just saying.
Same as like ready to fight. Not right now.
No. But I think I like the fact that they did change his backstory to fit this storyline, especially because the versus him being exiled to versus he being a prince changes how he can actually get to the crown.
It felt much more it tied a whole lot better into the whole themes of legacy, because his father, we find out that the prince is trying to expand the Wakandan Empire into an actual empire in the traditional sense of like colonization and taking over the world kind of energy, versus just an empire nation.
But I think that's where they're a little bit different. And hear me out.
But he literally says he wants the
Hold on.
Hear me out.
Because I also have a thought on this. Go ahead.
Especially because when he has the conversation with his dad, when he's turning into the Black Panther, he has this conversation of, I should have taken you out of here a long time ago. I should have brought you home because you've been lost. So I think what the father really wanted to do is, yes, expand the Wakandan Empire, but not the way that Eric wants to do it. He wanted the Wakandan Empire to be open and help the people that needed help. He was trying to be a force to drive for help. What his son saw is he's trying to bring these weapons out. The dad was not necessarily trying to just bring the weapons out to start war. He was bringing them out to support the people that needed the help.
My hand was up first. Which is exactly why I think that this entire plot line for them was a gross miscommunication. The dad, when we first hear from the King's Hand or whatever, when we first hear from the King's Hand, he explains the uncle as like, he was from Wakanda, he had love for Wakanda, but he thought that we could be doing more for our brothers and sisters outside of Wakanda.
Yeah.
He saw the oppression and all the issues and stuff that people faced outside of this little bubble oasis we've made for ourselves, and felt like we had betrayed them, and that we needed to do more to help.
Yeah, he wanted to get the resources into the hands of the people.
Not even that. I think what he wanted was Wakanda to be like, hey, those are ours? You can't be mean to them. He wanted Wakanda to step up and be the big brother to the little kid that's getting picked on. Like, just be like, hey, you can't pick on my little brother like that. We're gonna fuck you up. What Eric wanted was the angry dad that goes to the school and is like, fuck you, I basically own this place, I pay your bills, I either fix this or I'm nuking you kind of thing. One wanted a road to peace and the other wanted a road to domination.
Yes. I think that is I agree, that's a fundamental difference between Eric and his dad. But I'm gonna piggyback off of the little dream sequence that Eric goes through, because a direct parallel between T'Challa and his little dream sequence that he goes through.
So I know both were so pretty.
So pretty.
And they were tied together by the window.
Yes.
Yes.
Because so when T'Challa goes through his little dream sequence to become the Black Panther, he is in a savannah field. There are Black Panthers in the tree. They're obviously his ancestors. One hops down, has a little chit chat with his dad. You know, very calm, very peaceful. The score for that scene, oh my god, it felt like a ballet score for a minute there. I was in love. It was so good. Oh my gosh. But then we see Eric's scene, and you can still see the savannah through the window of his Oakland apartment. But instead of him actually being in the savannah, he is trapped in this Oakland apartment, and he's there alone for the first little bit of his little dream sequence. And it's not until he finds his dad's old, storage space that his dad shows up at all.
And and
then he reverts to a kid.
Yeah. I had a thought in this sequence. When T'Challa goes through his, there's an immediate connection, okay? It's almost like when Aang goes to the spirit world for the first time in Avatar: The Last Airbender. well, not for the first time, but the first time he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
He's like, okay, this is the spirit world, this is what's going on, this should be over here, this should be over here, if I find this one guy, this will happen, and we're good. So he's like, okay, this is the savannah, I'm here, this is weird, but if I find the tree, my dad will come down as a cat and then be a human, like the weird furry that he is. So... So he does those things, and there's an immediate connection. They have an actual conversation that narratively flows and makes sense to an outsider.
Yeah.
Like, there is logic in the conversation.
He can ask questions, he gets direct responses.
Yeah. But, like, I guess what I mean is, it flows not in stream of consciousness, but in stream of conversation. There's no mental noise happening. And when you go through Eric's, immediately everything is off. He, honestly, I wonder if he doesn't have, like, PTSD or something from some shit that's happened, either in like, war or something, because his sequence is so different. You want to talk about foils. He walks in, and it is something familiar to him. It is. This whole apartment sequence it is very familiar to him in a different way. It's like, almost, for me, it was almost his Savannah, but, like, not really, because it didn't seem comfortable. And I think that was on purpose. He goes through, he finds the dad, and the entire conversation is so hard to follow. They're, like, speaking in rhymes and riddles, and not really speaking. It feels like there's, like, this disconnect between mind and world that's not linking up. And the dad eventually starts crying, because... And I guess as the viewer, initially you think, oh, it's because he doesn't like where his son's going, but it might be because he can't speak to his son correctly. There's something wrong with the spiritual link.
I think it's because he never got buried properly.
Maybe.
God damn it.
She had her hand up for so long, Sam!
You can cut it out, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, it's fine.
Yes, that's what I was also getting to that. Like, I think it's a mixture of he didn't get buried correctly, and the weird things that are going on in Eric's head. It's making this, like, it's, like, incompatible for conversation. Like, because T'Challa definitely had, like, some issues with his dad in his life. Like, not necessarily huge things, but, like...
A standard parental child issues.
But the issues that, especially with the narrative disconnect between Eric and his dad, like, I think those components made them, like, physically incompatible to talk in this dream space, and I love that. Yes.
Okay. I don't think it was just because he was not... I think that's one of the reasons, but I think another reason for that is he did not have a true connection to his ancestors.
That too.
He did not... In the whole aspect of this, you see when T'Challa goes through the dream sequence again, when they're going, we're accepting you because you're supposed to be dying, we're accepting you into our ancestor world, and he's like, wait a minute, you're wrong, I'm not dying, and you fucked up, and you and our ancestors fucked up. You see that the ancestors are connected at this moment. So that goes back to the Panthers or the ancestors.
Right.
So the fact that when Eric has the dream sequence, he doesn't see the ancestors. He's in a place, and you're right, it's a place of not comfort for him, because this is where he found his dad's body.
Right.
He didn't find, and it wasn't like his mom found him, it's his dad, he found his dad's body.
Yeah.
So there's this, I think you're right, it's a PTSD sort of thing, but I think also the miscommunication between the dad and the son is because he wasn't truly in the spirit realm considered connected to his ancestors.
Or if he was, Eric didn't have the proper preparation to do this, like, spirit walk, this journey into his subconscious and into the spirit realm. Ancestral realm? I forget what they call it in the movie.
We're gonna call it spirit realm for now because Avatar.
Yeah.
And we know for a fact that T'Challa did. And perhaps the reason it takes his dad longer to manifest in his dreamscape is because he wasn't meant to be in the Oakland apartment. This is just where Eric is able to reach. He physically cannot get to his. Oh no! I've connected the dots. So it really comes back to the whole separation from your cultural identity once that a lot of Black Americans experience. I wonder if it's meant to be an allegory for the cultural disconnect that a lot of Black Americans feel from their African culture. Because of slavery and all of, that terrible, awful mess, they have no idea what region of Africa they came from, like what their cultural identity.
True culture.
Yeah. And so I wonder if that was meant to be an allegory for that experience.
Yeah, it's kind of like being the adult that you are now and finding out that 100 years ago your grandparents were taken from an English-speaking continent. And then, or your your great-great-grandparents were taken from your continent and then taken somewhere else. And now the place that you live hates them, and everyone else that came off the boat with them hates them, like, just for fucking reasons, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And all you know is they spoke English there. I wonder where that could be. Anywhere English is spoken. And not even, like, you're not even sure if it was English as a first language. You just know they spoke English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, you know that your great-great-grandparents were from Africa.
I could see it in more, not trying to make it like a Hispanic thing, but I can see it in Hispanic culture, especially second and third generations that are born here in the U.S. Compared to being born like in Mexico, because especially kids that are like second and third generation, not necessarily first generation, because some first generation children still have that cultural connection. The parents don't let it go.
Diaspora is so I was trying to remember the word.
I don't know. I'm just.
Why is she trying to make a fancy word? Can we just talk?
No, because
why do we have to make it fancy?
So it's the dispersion of. It originates from the dispersion of Jewish people beyond Israel, and it has become adopted by African people, particularly African American people, because they have been taken or stolen or.
Okay. All right, what else we got?
So, one thing I really liked was the direct lore confirmation that T'Challa is in fact a good man, because there's this repeated theme that you're a good man with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be king, and we see that we can see that confirmed when T'Challa jumps on the grenade during the interrogation scene. And it's a direct parallel to Steve in the first Avengers when he's still like skinny and sickly and stuff, because they're trying to figure out who would be a good Captain America, because the serum amplifies everything, not just the physical body, but the morals and the core of a person. So by that logic, Black Panther could lift Thor's hammer. But
oh shit,
maybe.
Yeah, potentially.
We will literally never know now.
We will literally never know.
No.
Yeah. But I really liked the cinematic confirmation that T'Challa is a good man from the direct parallel to the original good man, I guess. I don't know.
I guess?
The only... Okay, no, well... Okay, can I word it? Yeah, can I word it differently for you?
Sure.
You found Wakanda's ass.
Oh, we found
Wakanda's ass.
Are you happier?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I thought it was like a nice little like tidbit and tie into the universe that the MCU.
Yeah, and it does. You're right. It's a very nice parallel that they make there, especially because even Steve Rogers has that moral dilemma of if he is a good man, and you see that through T'Challa too, he has that moral dilemma as he starts seeing what closing off his country has done. Morally, he realizes that he's protecting his people, but he's neglecting other people too, and he's neglecting the people that are suffering around him, even just in Africa, like the other countries within Africa that are also suffering.
Yeah, and that's, I think, his direct confrontation with that is Nakia. She's like, I don't want to stay in Wakanda because there's bad stuff going on outside, and I have a moral obligation to help them.
I mean, you literally, the first scene you see of her is being kidnapped by
she's a plant there.
Well, she's a plant. Obviously, she's there to help people, and she's obviously gonna overthrow wherever she's being, but she's pretending to be a victim to help these people.
Oh, yeah.
And what
to disrupt
disrupt what's going on, but literally the first scene, and this isn't like happening in the U.S. or South Africa or South America. This is happening in Africa.
Yeah, it's happening literally right outside Wakanda.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is that's why she was very much a dude. We can't close our borders off to even the people next door.
Yeah, and I think building off of that, the leader of the tribe that saved T'Challa, what's his name? The one I really like.
M'Baku.
Yeah, M'Baku. He makes the note that he's the first king in decades to come to his
Centuries.
land, and it's not even. If you think about it, he phrases it as if T'Challa's made a point to be there, but in reality,
he got brought there.
He got brought there unconscious. So I think it builds off of that really well, because he, after being saved by him, he made the conscious choice to come up to him and talk, and found out that they really have been separating themselves from their neighbors.
Yeah, and I mean,
even within their own nation.
Yeah, exactly. Just because he's realized that because you don't think the same way I do doesn't mean we can't work together.
Exactly.
Because
I loved him so much. I'm sorry. Him laughing at his own jokes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and
the fact that he suffered a defeat and went, okay, no, seriously, I did in fact get defeated. It was so refreshing after this political climate.
Yeah.
He was like, no, seriously, dude, you beat me, and like, I'm not happy about it, but I'm not gonna go and cause a fit and have like several, lawyers about it.
The whole conversation between Nakia and Okoye, it made me a little. Rewatching it after this entire debacle of our own political climate.
You could make so many parallels right there, especially with the two Black Panthers.
Yeah.
I was like, because technically, he was defeated during that conversation. As far as they know, they believe T'Challa's dead. So, Eric is the rightful ruler, and all this stuff. And
when he's proven wrong.
When he's proven wrong, he's like, no, I'm still king. And he's like, well, I did not yield, and as you can see, I am not dead, so...
Yeah, when I saw it for the first time, I compared it to a U.S. election, and within the first 2 hours of the polls coming in, the person who's in the lead at that exact moment claiming victory, period, end of discussion. Like, no, the fight's not over. The fight is nowhere near over. You still have all of this other shit to deal with.
Yep.
You still got things to do, my dude. You still got things to count.
Yeah, so I didn't, even though obviously when this came out there was no parallel like that in our government.
There was not yet.
In our government.
Think, if this had been made in 2020 or even 2021, that scene between Okoye and Nakia would have been very
not
different.
even Okoye and Nakia. The whole scene with even with
I
don't know.
T'Challa and Eric, when T'Challa comes back, he's like, dude, you're not king. And that scene also makes it very prominent on he shouldn't have been giving orders, and people are still following him, even though he's technically not king.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other
Well, it's because he has
parallels that we had recently.
Yeah, an element of the leadership behind him. He has, because the way it's described is that each tribe has their own king, but there's like a king among kings, and
elder. Each tribe has an elder.
Well, they refer to them as royalty throughout the film, though.
Yeah, you can
But
be royalty,
to
not be a king.
Yeah, they're
Like a baron, a baroness. Those are all royalty. We know that from
and
Bridgerton.
They do talk about the fact that they're elders.
So
And they're the council.
Yeah.
So the council, he has many members of the council behind him. And now it's just it's a very different taste. You're like, oh, obviously, you know, overthrowing the government is you want to back, you know, Shuri and their mom and Nakia, and like it's just such a different flavor in 2021.
It is
completely unrelated. While I do love this movie a lot, I have some small complaints.
Go ahead.
Number one, and it's my biggest complaint thus far.
Is it the snow?
How the fuck did that snow save him?
So it lowers the body temperature?
I need more than it lowers the body temperature, because snow already does that, and you cannot live from a fall from that high out off of a waterfall because you sat in some snow.
I don't think it's necessarily just the snow. If you really think about it, he falls, they find him, he's still sort of alive, he's in a coma.
The movie's inability to show blood was so fucking weird throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I think this scene in particular is the one that it hindered the most. Because it's the only scene we actually see injuries in, and you as a viewer cannot tell how severe they are because of their inability to show blood.
Yeah, I think the dueling scenes and the war scenes and the recovery scenes definitely suffered from a lack of
blood
injury. Yeah.
And I'm blaming Disney for that. So this is not a call out to the director or anything. It just this scene, the scene that leads to the snow scene in particularly, for me it fucked up, because I still to this day 3 hours later have no idea how he lived through that fall because of some snow.
So
it
lowers the body temperature, but I also think they also have access to barium.
Vibranium. Hello, Griffin.
Hey.
That was a group stroke. Okay, do not blame Griffin McElroy on that.
I can't stand. You say it.
Vibranium.
They had access to it too, because all 5 tribes have access to it, not just
T'Challa's tribe.
Just T'Challa's tribe.
That's fine, but then why was he unconscious?
Because they don't have the same
technology.
Okay.
Because they do make a point of showing that they're more tribal, and not as their technology and even their weaponry. You can see that they're not as advanced as the other tribes.
I would argue that they simply developed differently and they had different priorities. Yeah. Because when we first get introduced to M'Kambe,
I would need to see it written out correctly.
M'Baku. Where did I get that other name from?
Man.
And Kambe is another person. Is the dude that goes against his girlfriend.
Okay.
Say his name again.
M'Baku.
We see M'Baku actively mock Shuri for her technology abilities. So I think that's simply a difference of priority rather than...
In that case, I'm going to be willing to forgive it. However, I'm going to say another thing in tandem with that.
Sure.
While this movie was already very long, and I don't think you can really tell, so it doesn't feel like it. I think this would have been a really good film for the Disney MCU to kind of loosen the reins on film length, because I would have loved to see development in that direction.
Yes.
Also, some of the scenes they cut were so crucial for some characters' developments.
Yeah. What's his best bro? Hold on, I have it written down somewhere.
You said his name just a minute ago.
Wakabi? Best friend. Okay, Wakabi. Wakabi's deleted scene does him such a disservice because so he has this deleted scene right after the usurpation of T'Challa, and he's talking with Okoye, his lover, and
Why would you call her that? She's a girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
She's his girlfriend.
I don't know. I meant it in
I
like
mean,
the soft
she's
affection.
no longer the girlfriend after the whole
I meant
battle
it in
and
the like
everything.
soft affectionate like.
I hear lover and I assume like mistress.
No. I meant it in the soft affectionate way. His
Okay.
the good way. Anyways. And she's like, didn't you love T'Challa? He was your best friend. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And he's like, he fucked up. He didn't bring my parents' murderers home. He allowed the man to steal from our nation and didn't do anything about it. And Okoye tries to defend their actions outside of Wakanda, and Wakabi basically says it doesn't matter. This man killed the person who destroyed my family and stole from my nation, so I don't give a shit. And they cut that!
I mean, yes, it's a very sad scene to cut because it does give him so much character development. You understand why he makes the decisions that he makes, especially when he's given the order to attack T'Challa. But I think it also shows him in a negative way because it doesn't let it. It
shows a more wrathful side of him than you would expect.
Yeah,
initially.
because he's also very much in the aspect thought of, well, because she's trying to explain, look, dude, it's not what you think happened. This is how it happened. And he's like, I don't care. He made the decision to give it to the UN or the CIA. And she's like, no.
That's not how,
That's not how it happened.
Yeah.
But the fact that Eric came in with the body, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how Eric got the body. The fact that Eric was working with him.
Najadika. That's his... Najadika?
It doesn't matter that Eric was working with Claw. What matters is he brought Claw.
Well, they don't know that he was working with Claw either.
Exactly, but she was trying to explain that to him, and he does not allow her to explain.
I really like how the movie... I think you're right. But
Yeah.
I really like how they handled grief, and I think it's a good element of a different handling of grief that could have been explored throughout the movie. Because, I mean, we see T'Challa's grief, and we see Shuri's grief, and we see the Queen Mother's grief, but...
Part of me wishes that they would have, okay, let me pitch this, okay? Maybe instead of doing an entire movie about Wakanda, okay, and how T'Challa, their family, and everything functions after the death of their father, maybe instead do something like release a version of the Avengers movie that only follows T'Challa and his way through that, and then turn this whole movie into a series. You would never have to cut any of these things. You could expand on so many things.
They'd still cut shit.
I know they still cut shit, but still, I'm not saying that this is a perfect world, but I feel like there was so much to be explored in this, and Marvel Disney combo pack, or even just one or the two, don't like... It's so weird. They don't like directors that add to the story. And I want them to give them more power off the bat. If the writer who did Thor Ragnarok and the writer who did Black Panther had control over the entire MCU, that shit would never get old. It would be so good throughout the entire run. Whoever you've got now, scrap them. They're not doing good work.
Yeah, the Russo brothers, garbage.
Russo brothers, trash.
Because, like, the last good thing they wrote...
Oh, they wrote good?
I really enjoyed The Winter Soldier.
I think The Winter Soldier was a good written.
But that's the last good thing they wrote. And from that point on in the MCU...
They got too big for their heads.
They got a huge ego.
They got a huge ego, found a formula that works, and just decided to cruise the rest of the way through their, like, success.
As opposed to actually writing a compelling story.
It's kind of like how you can get straight A's in school but never pay attention to the work. I feel like they're getting really good, like, box office hits simply because of the characters that everyone else did in them. Like, they didn't do the work, they just passed the test.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Another thing I personally found wrong is more to do with the filming.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's the freaking snow when they're burying T'Challa.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's. Yeah. I mean, I understand why they had to do it because
Mm-hmm.
filming with snow is very hard. It melts. But I mean, you could have used white sand.
See, my theory is that they used some kind of amalgamation of like
CGI.
No, you know what
It was CGI.
You know what what's that sand that like it conforms when you push on it?
Oh, the magnetic
kinetic sand or something like that.
Sand.
It looks like what they did is they used green kinetic sand because it does poof. It does if you were to be able to color it like snow, it does kind of have the texture of snow. And the reason I'm thinking this instead is because while the snow in Frozen looked super real, it looked like that because it was in a cartoon mimicking life. The second you take that kind of animation and put it into real life, it's going to pale in comparison. So what you want to do when filming is try and get as close to real life without pushing.
I mean, you could have used. They could have used. There's so many options out there, though.
Are there?
You have the fake snow.
Fake snow is actually not great for your skin to touch for long times, and also it still melts. It's just a chemical that's absorbed water and looks all.
No, I wasn't talking about like the.
Talking about styrofoam?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. There's an actual thing called fake snow. It's
I know that. I know that fake snow, but I know that fake snow's gonna melt. So I'm talking about like the styrofoam.
They have like styrofoam snow that.
Okay. There could have been other options, but the fact of the matter is we're not sure why they chose what they did. My thought process on how they did it is that they used either some kind of kinetic sand or some kind of regular sand that they either used a bright green to be green screen, or it was completely CGI'd from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because you can tell when they're pushing it around that their hands almost disappear at the edges, and not in the way that you expect when interacting with a liquid-esque object like snow or sand or anything like that. It's almost like when you use the select tool in like paint or something like that, and it doesn't do the best job. And I'm not saying they did that. I'm saying that in order to, when you use green screen like that, the finer points of contact between green screen and not are very hard to define. And the closer you have to get with that, because they're if they did do it the way I think they did, they're going fiber by fiber. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a blur.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my theory.
And like, if you've grown up with any kind of snow, it doesn't move like it does in Black Panther. And I mean, like, this is we're splitting hairs here.
We're getting very specific, but that's a good thing. If we have to get specific about shit like that, it means they did good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from the bad stuff about the filming, there were a lot of really good points.
Oh no, the filming was amazing. That was like my only downtrot that I was like,
can we?
They took some daring choices.
Can we talk about the throne scene? With Eric? Yes.
Oh my god, that scene was beautiful.
Okay, the fact that he's inverted
from the get-go.
Like the first time he's entering the throne room as king.
It's literally flipping their world upside down.
It's literally flipping the world upside down, and it shows like how he's coming in and flipping the Wakandan society upside down, how his world is literally inverted from T'Challa, and
I know, that was an amazing shot.
Oh, and then it's not even that it snaps back; it's that it slowly forces the camera to see his new world rather than the. It feels almost like a mirror situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it. Oh my god, it was a good choice. There were a lot of other really good shots. The scene where they're fighting in the train tunnel. I know that. Technically, a lot of it was CGI'd, but still, they had to choose shots for that, and I love the shots they chose.
Yes.
They used, like, essentially CGI stunt doubles to make a lot of that scene, but the way that they framed them around a format that we've already seen in the tunnels, so we're familiar with it from outside of a CGI
experience.
Yeah, it's the view from Shuri's lab.
Yeah, so, like, it works so well, and when you marry real world and CGI, typically, historically, there's an uncanny valley kind of thing happening.
That was very merged
very
well.
I knew there was some element of CGI,
Yeah,
obviously.
you could tell, but it almost felt more just the suit kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought it was more of like, oh, they're overlaying the purple and gold energies for the suits, and the actors had, done the hand-to-hand combat. And they had done some of the hand-to-hand combat, but a good chunk of that was CGI.
Yeah,
and
it was very impressive.
And I couldn't tell.
Yeah. A lot of the CGI work in this film was very impressive. Again, the only issue I had with the CGI was the snow.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, and that final
You
shot...
could have used salt!
Do you want to lay in salt? Do you want your bits laying in salt, Myra?
Also, salt doesn't clump like snow does.
You really just said salt! Do you want salt on your butt? That's worse than sand!
Are you good?
Never mind. I was trying to find a white sand-like powder.
If you say sugar, that's inviting a yeast infection no matter what orifice it goes into.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, flour might have been possible.
Damp flour.
Yeah, flour would have maybe worked out, but they've got too high of a budget for that.
We'll get the green sand is better.
Anyway, the final scene where he is sent. Okay, when he picked up, what's his name, to go, like, after their fight,
Eric?
I dead ass thought he was gonna heal him so that he could see the wonders of. I was so mad. I was like, put that bitch back down. Put that murderer back down. Do not help him. But no, he took him to the mouth, the opening of the train thing, and sat him down and was like, here. It's like, it's the one thing I can give you kind of thing.
Yeah, he showed him mercy.
He really did. He showed him the one thing that that his father could never give him, that he'd always wanted to see. And without endangering his people. It's this cool new thing where you smartly help people.
He even offers to heal Eric. He's like, maybe we can... I feel really bad, because by this point in the film, they've bonded, and he knows what Eric had to grow through, how he grew up. Because Oakland in the 90s was not a great
Oakland
place.
Still.
I mean, still, it's a little better, but... And Eric was like, I've always wanted to see a sunset in Wakanda. Like, my father said it was the most beautiful thing in the world.
And the shot that they chose for that,
it's a beautiful shot.
I was blown away. Like, it was reminiscent of when it was reminiscent of the sweetness from Lion King when Mufasa is showing Simba all of the things that the light touches are mine, except it is so bittersweet instead.
Yes.
It's like a complete opposite coin.
I really loved how even after all of the horrible things you've seen Eric do, like, from the moment he shoots his girlfriend, he is solidified as a true villain. And he acts that way. Like, he doesn't ever back down from that point. But even as he's sitting there dying, you almost want to cry for him. Your heart aches for him as a villain. And that is just a true testament to the right. Like, I wish he hadn't died, because I would have loved to see more of him.
And at the same time, I'm glad he did. Like, I agree, but at the same time, I don't.
I'm glad I'm sad he died, but I'm also glad he died because of the fact that he even himself admits that if he does not die, he will continue trying to take over.
Which is so good. Like that's
he admits his own flaws.
And plus, like, the media right now is so saturated with redemption arcs. I'm just so happy they let him be bad and fucking die that way. Like, part of me would have liked to see what he could have grown to be in like a perfect world kind of scenario, but another part of me is just, I'm so tired of seeing we'll just be friends in two movies, like in two episodes.
Because they flirt.
Not everyone can be friends. Not everything can be fixed by a hug.
Yeah, they flirt with that idea. They almost give the whole Thor Loki energy for a second, but then Eric's like, "Nah, I'd rather die than let you try and make me something I'm not."
Yeah. And that's a lot.
That's respect.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
It's just such a good film. I mean,
we could go on for hours, but I think we should.
Shall we move on to the fandom?
Fandom. Oh, the fandom.
Nice. So, I didn't do a lot of inorganic diving into the fandom this week because I have organic dives. I used to be in this fandom for a hot minute, and that's how I knew a lot about Black Panther before I even stepped into the movie. That's kind of why I felt like I didn't need to see the movie too, because like I already knew so much about the characters and their world. I was wrong; it was worth it. But the point remains. I am a sucker for how the MCU fandom handles the found family tropes, and the realm of Wakanda is no exception. They essentially were just kind of adopted in with the rest of the Marvels once they had their little like powwow in the real world. And outside of that, because I think everyone who's stepped into MCU fandom is very familiar with that realm of it. They had a huge impact among people of color in the audience. So people who might not necessarily be in fandom were interacting with this fandom. For a while, the Wakanda Forever sign was like a thing.
I think it's still being
used.
I mean,
it's still a cultural thing.
In the 2020, some sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
I remember people being like, "Oh wow, look, a lot of these black athletes are using the Wakanda Forever symbol after they win, or after a good game."
Yeah, and after seeing the movie, I totally understand why, because they had the characters embrace all. They kind of had them organically fill that hole that the world stole from them 100 years ago. They allowed the movie and its world to give them kind of a culture back. You can't take away a movie. You can take away where everyone came from, and that's because that's old history. You can't go back and fix that. You can't raise people from the dead to be like, "Hey, tell me about some stuff. Let me learn." But you can take from a movie that just says, "Hey, if you don't know, we're here for you, period, point blank." Like, I think that's really beautiful, and I like that I really like that the audience took that message in a positive direction, and fuck yeah, y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of cosplays, I've seen tons of stuff. As far as, like, warnings for the fandom, MCU in general kind of gets toxic every now and then. I haven't seen much surrounding Black Panther in general, but since they're so inherently tied, I'm just gonna preface with that.
Yeah.
There are some memes, like, both in, like, just in general.
Yeah.
Especially the sister. What's her name?
Shuri.
Shuri is a meme queen, and the fandom just went, no, don't worry, honey, we're gonna give you all the updated shit. You've got everything you could ever need. Here, Peter Parker, teach her about memes. It's beautiful. Aside from that, There are also some weird ships, as always, but I haven't seen anything necessarily like
No, I
super
just took
scarring.
Yeah, I just took a peek at Archive of Our Own, and it's exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing bad. I feel like at this current point, the movie is still near and dear to a lot of people, so the corruptors haven't been able to get their hands on it.
And I
really.
think a lot of it too, especially because of what happened this past year with Chadwick Boseman passing away, a lot of people are trying to keep it pure.
Yeah, which is fair.
Which and I actually, something I forgot to mention in the tidbits is, in memory of him, Marvel has actually changed the opening of the Black Panther, where they show the Marvel emblem to be all the scenes and portrayals of
They even
Chadwick
had
Boseman.
something like behind the scenes kind of shots.
Yeah, of him in particular, which I thought was a great homage to pay to him.
It's an amazing tribute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So I guess...
Yeah, especially since, like, Black Panther is considered the first mainstream black superhero.
Yeah.
Let me preface. They were the first mainstream black superhero in comics.
In comics,
yes.
The first black mainstream superhero to appear in a film was actually Blade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But as far as comics, there were others before him. Don't misunderstand. There were others, but he was the first to be broadcast by a major label.
Yes.
And to receive the kind of reception and popularity that
he
the
received,
comic did.
Yeah. And
I believe DC's first black superhero was Black Lightning.
I do not like DC, so I can't say. They have Static Shock, and that's about it.
He is a metahuman.
Okay.
Batman's the only DC. Batman and Wonder Woman.
So,
anyway.
It's fine. I would rank the Black Panther fandom specifically an A.
Yes. Yeah.
I did not see anything necessarily bad. There was nothing weird. Not a lot to warn about. This is not the rating for the entire MCU.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'm prefacing with that because that rating is going to be very different if we ever get to it.
Oh, God, that'll be...
I'm glad this is the first MCU film we're
tackling. This was a really good opener. Also, it's one of the few I haven't seen. So I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
I think the only one I've not seen the new Wanda and
WandaVision.
I like that they named it basically like a ship. It's kind of funny.
And I haven't seen the new Spider-Man, but I've seen all the... that's a lie. I haven't even seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or...
You don't have...
S.H.I.E.L.D.
So
we might watch it. Don't hate on it yet.
And Agent
I
Carter.
have words about that.
I've been wanting to see Agent Carter.
I love that show.
I know. She has feelings.
I have a lot of feelings.
For the viewers at home, Sam just had a seizure in her chair over the mention of this bitch.
So technically, I have not seen any of the Marvel shows.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies of recent. For things I've already discussed. I haven't seen the new WandaVision. There's a couple others that I haven't seen, but I don't remember them because I haven't seen them. But yeah.
But yeah, I think this was a good opener for the MCU.
All right. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, go watch this movie if you haven't seen it. Where have you been? Living under a rock? Well, besides Jay, where have you been? Living under a rock?
If you've been living under a rock like me, please consider fixing it because it was a mistake that I regret. I so regret living under that rock, and I'm happy to be out in the sun. I'm thriving out here. There's so much lore to look into for this. I'm so excited.
Yes. There's so much lore. There's so much, and even I'm so sad that Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Yeah.
And like I've said to you guys before, I'm really hoping that they pay tribute to him by either releasing what he had already filmed for the Black Panther Part 2 as a tribute and to donate to colon cancer research.
Yeah.
Or if there's enough of what they filmed is enough to make a full film to release it in tribute to him, because I know a lot of people are like, there can't be another Black Panther that isn't him. I agree, but there can be a film
I would be willing to see Shuri take on the role.
No, I would say Shuri would be a good replacement, but I don't think they should just go Shuri replaced him.
No,
I think you need that second film to understand why would Shuri take his position. And I would hope, and I hope that they maybe did have enough filmed with him in it, that they can produce a film enough to give us that. Because, I mean, Fast and Furious 8 did that with Paul Walker.
Well, yeah, they gave...
It's a definite possibility. And plus, with how much they already use CGI for the shots in the suit, they could totally fabricate something out of lines and stuff.
Because I know they did that with... Because they hadn't shot the final scenes for the final Fast and Furious films.
No, there's like
So they just stitched together words that
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, I'm sorry. I don't know why that popped into my head. Paul Walker had said through other films and everything else, and...
They used his brother as a double.
As a body double, and then just CGI'd his film, or his face. So I hope they do something like that to at least give the transition scenes that may need to be added to make it a cohesive transition. Yes, and I really hope that they do this because we saw his acting there. He was a great actor, and each tribe had their own language.
Also, quick side note, third movie in a row to have really good child actors.
Oh.
Yes.
We're not going to get back into it because we're in final thoughts, but yeah. We see you. We see you out here.
That double for Eric. Chef's kiss.
All right, so Myra, what's your rank?
I would say yes, please go see it.
Yeah, for me, I love this film. It is absolutely stunning to watch. If you like themes and parallels and all those good literary devices, this is an excellent film. It's also just such a refreshing change of pace from the standard MCU vibe. We talked about that. It's just such a good film. Objectively, go watch it. If you don't, bad taste.
Yeah, same here. If you're sick of a lot of the superhero movies that Marvel's been putting out recently, this is the perfect deviation from form. They take the typical format and kind of turn it on its head in the best of ways. Yes. It is a beautiful movie. The characterization is great. The filmography is great. You will not regret seeing this movie. If anyone doesn't like this movie, I am gonna have to have words because I'm genuinely confused.
We'll find out in the reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, we're...
All right.
3, 2...
So that was 3 yeses all around, wasn't it?
Yeah.
3 enthusiastic yeses.
Yeah.
Please go see the movie. And we've said our thoughts. No, we've had our snacks.
I was like, you just fucking... You want to talk about stealing lines.
That's not even a line to steal. She made up her own.
I know. Well, we've had our snacks.
We've said our facts.
We've told you if you should watch that, which you should.
No. Have a good night. See you next week.
Creating a weapon that almost destroyed me. How whack is that? Well, look at the bright side. You're back here at Dakota U with your #1 boy, me. And the bright side is...